Do you belong to a DFS provider but still wish that you would win more often? Do you keep messing up lineups with your own picks that your provider leaves for your discretion? Then DFS Slate Sheet is the tool for you. Whether you subscribe to a provider or not, DFS Slate Sheet will give you the tools to create your best DFS lineups. My name is Jacob Rubel, and I am the founder of DFS Slate Sheet. On the screen is a sample NFL slate sheet from week 2 of the 2018 NFL season. Each week, I will provide a DraftKings and FanDuel slate sheet, with the difference being the player pool and pricing of the players. You will see that there is a tab for each position: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and defense. Starting with the quarterback tab, the first few columns are pretty self-explanatory. We have player's name, team, opponent, whether that player is home or away, and the player's DraftKings or FanDuel price, depending on the slate sheet that you choose. These will be the first few columns on each tab. Under the player's team section, we have that player's team ranking in total pass attempts and pass percentage, or percentage of plays run by that team that are passes. After that, we have pass attempts and rush attempts per game for each player. The last section is labeled opponent. For this section, we have how the player's opponent ranks in yards per attempt and passing yards per game. Before we go on to the next tab, I would like to explain the color coding system, as you will see that on each tab. For the color-coded columns under the player's team section, if a cell is green, that player's team ranks in the top 10 in that statistic. If a cell is yellow, that player's team ranks between 11th and 22nd in that statistic. If a cell is red, that player's team ranks in the bottom 10 in that statistic. For the color-coded columns under the opponent section, if a cell is green, that player's opponent ranks in the bottom 10 in that statistic. If a cell is yellow, that player's opponent ranks between 11th and 22nd in that statistic. If a cell is red, that player's opponent ranks in the top 10 in that statistic. To make things easier, the reason that I decided on this color coding system was to represent a stoplight. Green is good for the player, yellow is mediocre, and red is bad for the player. Now that we have established the color coding system, let's move on to the rest of the tabs. Next, we have the running back tab. Under the player's team section, we have that player's team ranking in total rushing attempts, total passing attempts, rush percentage or percentage of plays run by that team that are rushes, and pass percentage or percentage of plays run by that team that are passes. The per game player statistics are rush attempts per game, receptions per game, targets per game, and touches per game, or rush attempts plus receptions per game. We also have catch percentage, which is the percentage of targets that a player catches. Under the opponent section, we have how the player's opponent ranks in yards per carry and rushing yards per game. The wide receiver and tight end tabs have the same column headings, so we will just look at the wide receiver tab. Under the player's team section, we have that player's team ranking in total pass attempts and pass percentage, or percentage of plays run by that team that are passes. The per game player statistics are receptions per game and targets per game. Again, we have catch percentage, or the percentage of targets that are caught by that player. Under the opponent section, we have how the player's opponent ranks in yards per attempt and passing yards per game. Finally, we have the defense tab. The defense section represents how the defense ranks in each statistic. In this section, we have rushing yards per game allowed, passing yards per game allowed, sack percentage or percentage of dropbacks that the defense sacks the quarterback on, and turnovers per game forced by the defense. The offense section represents how the offense that the defense will be facing ranks in each statistic. Again, we have rushing yards per game, passing yards per game, sack percentage or the percentage of dropbacks by that offense that result in a sack, and turnovers per game by that offense. Now that I have explained what all of the columns on the slate sheet represents, I would like to talk about an important function that you may want to use. This is the ability to sort columns. If you click on an arrow, you can sort the column in ascending or descending order. You can also check and uncheck boxes to only include certain values in that column. This is primarily important if you want to only look at players from a particular team or teams, or if you want to only look at players within a certain pricing range. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell to be notified when I publish future videos. If you would like to have access to these weekly slate sheets, they will be posted on the DFS SlateSheet group page on Facebook. Thank you and have a wonderful day.